Hey everyone, when you're just starting out, everyone seems to have advice for you. You have to do it like this. This is the only correct way how to play it. You have to try this exercise. Don't use a pick, only use your fingers. But not all advice is good advice. Sure, some advice can be helpful, but some of it is straight up harmful. So today, let's break down some of the worst bass advice out there, and what you should actually do instead. Let's dive in. Number 1, never play with a metronome. Feel is more important. That is the kind of advice most bass players want to hear. Oh, no metronome needed. Nice. Look, feel is massively important. Bass is all about groove and pocket. But here's the thing. Feel without solid timing falls apart. A metronome isn't your enemy, it's your best training partner. It teaches you how to keep steady time, which is absolutely crucial. You could have the best technique in the world, but if you're always rushing or dragging, you're not a good bass player. Sure, a few rare players have rock solid timing naturally, but even then I still recommend practicing with a metronome. First, get solid with a click. Then you can push and pull the beat like a pro. Number 2, don't bother playing with other musicians until your playing is perfect. What a brilliant plan. Spend a lifetime in your bedroom chasing perfection. Then maybe you will be good enough to join a band. Here's the truth. You get better by playing with others. You learn how to listen, adapt, groove and react. Skills you can't develop by practicing alone. Even if you only know 3 notes, get out there and jam. It's messy and humbling, but it's one of the fastest way to grow. Joining a band early or jamming with other musicians is a shortcut to success. And if they're more experienced than you, even better. That will push you to practice harder and play your best. Number 3, music theory will kill your creativity. I get where this fear is coming from. People think music theory puts you in a box. Suddenly, you're limited to playing major minor scales, roots and fifths and arpeggios. And worse, you're not allowed to break the rules anymore. But in reality, music theory gives you more tools to be creative. It's not about rules you have to follow. It's about understanding your options, so you can break the rules on purpose. Some of the most creative bass players out there use theory all the time, whether they realize it or not. Knowing theory can turn creating bass lines into a simple step-by-step process. It becomes less about trial and error, but more about direction. Same with composing. It becomes less about trial and error, but more about direction. Of course, you don't need to memorize every scale under the sun, but understanding the basics, that's what will take your playing to the next level, far beyond just trial and error. Number 4, slap is the only way to impress people. Ah yes, slap with the bass. Slap is cool and fun, no argument there. But here's the thing, you don't need to slap to impress. Sure, players like Flea, Marcus Miller or Victor Wooten are incredible when they start slapping like crazy. But that doesn't mean you have to play super fast slap bass to stand out as a bass player. Just look at players like Pino Palladino, James Jamerson and Carol Kay. Some of the most iconic bass lines ever were played fingerstyle. Remember, making people move is more important than making their jaw drop for 5 seconds. Number 5, taps are all you ever need. I bet a lot of beginners wish this were true. Taps are a great tool, especially when you're starting out. They're easy to understand and let you learn riffs or songs quickly. But relying only on taps is like learning to speak a language only by mimicking sounds. You'll always be guessing. I'm not saying you need to learn how to read music right away. Whether you do depends on your goals. But learning rhythm, understanding notes, picking up a bit of theory, and eventually developing a musical ear gives you way more freedom on the bass. It lets you learn songs faster and jam confidently. Also, you can create your own bass lines and communicate with other musicians effectively. Taps are a solid starting point, but you shouldn't rely solely on them. Unfortunately, bad advice is everywhere. Just join a bass group on Facebook, ask for advice, and you see exactly what I mean. Those folks don't mean any harm. But hearing 10 completely different opinions can be overwhelming and slow you down. So trust your gut, stay curious, and only take advice from bass players who really know what they're doing. What's the worst bass advice you've ever received? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.